What is the crack, guys? It is Nathan here, aka the Rambling Kern and head coach of Kern School of Combat. So, what I wanted to talk to you about today was Irish stick fighting and more importantly the things that make it unique. So this kind of popped up after the last video, just as a general question of like what exactly is it that makes Irish stick fighting unique. And one of the comments kind of came up that every style of stick fighting, there's only so many ways to swing a stick, and to a degree, yes, this is very true. Human bodies can only move in so many directions, so there are certain things that overlap, but there are many things that make Irish stick fighting unique. Now, I've been very lucky over the years to be exposed to a lot of different styles of martial arts and stick fighting, especially, probably more than kind of your average person, and I'm very honoured to have been lucky enough to do that. But there is definite differences within Irish stick fighting and other styles. So first and foremost, the biggest difference is this: it's the stick itself. So one of the things that I say quite often, and one of the things that you'll hear me say quite a bit, probably over the coming months, when it comes to these videos, is that the environment the environment within where a martial art arises, or within any sort of culture, really defines how they fight. And that really is very true about these. So obviously there were certain things going on in Ireland at the time. Your average person could not own a weapon due to the penal laws. Obviously that's, very much like today, people can't legally, own certain weapons, but still do, so it was very much a case at the time as well that sort of thing was happening. But anyway, that's a topic in itself. The main thing is that these were unique in many ways to, Irish culture and Irish society, and it was kind of needed to have a reliable, sturdy weapon that wasn't necessarily a weapon. Now, the stick itself and how it's shaped and how it's formed and its overall length is really what makes it unique. Now, obviously there's various different ones that are used for these. Generally the preferred one is Blackthorn, which is what this is. So you can see there, we have a Blackthorn stick. This one has had the spines and the spikes removed, so much easier and nicer to handle. These are also not especially heavy. It's something, probably a topic in and of itself, but something that generally people kind of think that a stick or a club needs to be this massive heavy weapon. This one actually weighs roughly the same as some of the rattan training sticks I use, so roughly about 300 or so grams. To give you an idea, this rattan stick is, I think, 260 or so. Normally I write them on the bottom. I haven't with this one, but just to give you an idea, probably very close in weight. However, the difference with this is that it's hardwood, and especially tough. I think Blackthorn is one of the toughest for its weight when it comes to various types of wood. It's also it has a little bit of give in it, as you can see. It's a little bit of flex. But this is kind of what makes the style and the methods to use these unique. So some of the things that are very important to note with this is primarily how it's held. So that's one of the most unique things with Irish stick fighting, and that is essentially due to what it is. So essentially this is a walking stick. Now yes, there are styles of walking stick fighting. As I mentioned in the previous video, we have Lacan and all sorts of other single stick methods and walking stick methods that have come up over the years. The thing is, for most of those, normally they're held up here by the feral end, as this is called within Bata, but normally it's held up at this end for walking. Someone attacks you, you hit them, with this end usually. So helps to have a tough wood for it. But what you'll see within all of the styles and within any of the written records or the photographic or artistic records of Irish stick fighting is that they're almost always held with a third grip. So what that means is you have your stick divided into three, and it's pretty much exclusively held here. Now this stick's a little bit short for me. I'm quite a tall guy. I'm 6'5", whatever that is in centimeters, I think 195, something like that. So generally when this is held, it's to cover the forearm, and usually, as is advised in most, within Antrim and within some of the references materials which I'll show on this video as well, is it normally overlaps the elbow by about an inch. And this kind of creates quite a unique thing in that your bottom of your wrist, your forearm and your elbow actually offers quite a good deal of protection, keeping this quite safe. Anyone who's done stick fighting will know that, or even fencing, your hands are a huge target. In Filipino martial arts, I know the term defanging the snake often comes up. Take away the weapon, person's in a lot of trouble. So the other thing that is quite unique as well is the grip. So I suppose fencers would tend to call this a saber grip, and the thumb on top, like so. This is across all the styles and within some of the pictorial records as well, that the stick will be held with this thumb up grip. Now anyone who's done saber fencing will know that that allows for quite a quick, snappy shot with a very easy to recover, so you can send it out and immediately snap back. And obviously for stick fighting this is very important, and this is where one of the unique things of this art comes in, that stick fighting, sometimes people think, especially when they see something like this, like a club, they think there's a whole lot of weight and you're just swinging wildly and there's no real recovery. These have to be very short, sharp shots so that you can recover. Now, getting back to the third grip. So I've only seen this in one other style of stick fighting that I've been exposed to, which is Krabi Krabang, which is the weaponized art of Muay Thai. As a very overly simplified way of explaining it. So they do also hold with a third grip, but as I'll show on screen now in a minute, that is due to the Thai da or dab. There's a few different regional variations of how that's spelled and said. This is a sword that's held with this grip, with a very long, almost third length grip. The styles of Krabi Krabang that use sticks is just as a substitute for a blade. So it's basically a safe method, like with modern sparring, where we would use foils and epées and rebated swords for longsword, all that sort of stuff. That many styles would traditionally use sticks. You'll see the same in Eskrima or Arnis, whatever term you wish to call it. And that's where Irish stick fighting is going to be unique. These are held this way because they're a stick. So the two kind of main things with that third grip as well, obviously some walking sticks are held up here, which allows for a very quick, very whippy strike. You can really send that out very quickly, but you're losing one of the most powerful weapons on it. The other thing is you can't really hold this and control it too well if you're holding right down the end of the stick. It's just basically virgin physics. You swing this out, it becomes very hard to recover. You swing, and as you can see, I try to stop that. It's not the easiest thing. Even with a relatively light stick, it's still not the easiest thing to do. So really the things that make Irish stick fighting as a whole unique is actually the weapon itself. Obviously the methods have overlap. Regardless of whatever style it is that you practice, there will be certain things that will be similar across the board. The weapon itself is what makes it unique. And as a result, how it's then used. So obviously the third grip, thumb up, generally seems to be across the board, at least in the two styles that I'm familiar with. This is what's done. And generally a relatively light stick as well. It's not especially heavy. I know this will probably spark a bit of debate, but trust me, you do not need an especially heavy stick. If anyone would like to see me testing this out, more than happy to do it. Actually, you'll probably even see with this one, if I can get a close-up, if the camera will focus for me, you can just about see where my finger is here. No, it's not really focusing, but anyway, that's a different from hitting a steel bolt on one of the training pads that I have for hitting with the stick, and as you can see, barely deformed it. So if a steel bolt will barely deform it with a full force hit, you know, it'll do a fair amount of damage to your noggin if it makes contact. As well as that, obviously the third grip, and the reason why you have the inch overlap is to protect the forearm, the elbow and the hand itself. Another kind of unique thing within Irish stick fighting. And there is all sorts of interesting techniques done with this bottom third as well, not just protecting but also offensively as well. Thrust forward and also leverage motions done as well. Whilst the ferrule at the end here is not unique to styles of stick fighting, it is kind of unique in its own way within Irish stick fighting. Obviously there's a particular preferred type and a particular preferred way that there are shapes, generally kind of forward leaning, having essentially kind of a small hook shape, which again allows for some kind of interesting things when being used and practiced with. So again, quick overview. I know it's only a 10-minute video. There's a lot of things that we could dive into just with that material there. So just kind of wanted to cover that Irish stick fighting, it is unique very much in its own way. And obviously, like I said, the environment within any martial art is derived, or within any culture, you will see a lot of uniqueness. You know, it's the environment that really drives the changes and the methods themselves. And that's very, very true for Irish stick fighting. Obviously, having a stick with other weapons will be preferable. How you grip it, how it's held, how it's trained. You know, there's a lot of kind of unique things within Irish stick fighting. And if anyone wants me to dive further into this, you know, please let me know. Again, you know, there's only so much I can get to in these sort of short videos, but if there's anything else that you'd like me to cover or run through with these, please let me know. You'll find my links down in the description. If you'd be kind, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. The channel is growing, that will really help. In the new year, really exciting project coming. Some stuff that I've been working on for the past 2 years, so you know, I'm excited for it and something for you guys to look forward to. Again, if you have any questions or if there's any kind of future topics, or if you'd like me to dive further into any of this, please let me know. I'd be more than happy to help. So thank you very much, guys, and Slán.